So fans, how are you doing today? Don't go anywhere. Hit that bell icon just so you don't miss another video. So buckle in. Today we're going to be discussing MATIC and AVAX as well. And of course, we're going to go over the market and let's look over the last week and what's happening today, which is much, much better. And if you haven't already, if this is your first time to the channel, help us support the channel by subscribing. So MATIC is trading right now at $23, which is much better than what it was over the last couple of days, but let's take a closer look. Now, you can see that I have these indicators on the chart itself, and these are older, but they still kind of tell us what we need to see right now. Right, so like I said, we have around 12 hours left in the trading day, and I have my trend line here just kind of showing you that it's been, in fact, still going in a bear market trajectory. Now, coming in from the 24th, the 1st of September, you just kind of like started to go down. Now we're picking back up. And the reason why I made that trend line is because, of course, we need to kind of break above that to start seeing some positive input. Now, I'm on the daily time frame. If you notice on the videos that I kind of like to go by the daily time frame the most, simply because it's going to give me more information across the broader spectrum of what's happening, and I can kind of catch that little thing. I don't like to go too low unless I'm really micro analyzing the market. But for the most part, while you're here with me, and just for me to give you a broad analysis of what's going on or what we can expect, or my opinion, better yet, this is what I use. So we're still downward, but we're starting to pump back up. And here you can see we kind of started off, we're not started off, but we got up to $24, which is not much, but we're working our way back down either way. Yesterday also it kind of started to push and give us a little bit of positive sentiment about going in. Now that can do a little bit of a retracement and come back down, of course. Now that retracement, what we can expect is around $19, kind of falling back down, which is where we left off back like at the beginning of August, right? So we were kind of working our way back down there, because if you look on the 16th of August, we started pumping back up and we got all the way up to around $27, and then we just kind of fell back down, and kind of like what we've been doing. I don't think we're going to go too much further, simply because we at least closed at the same time last month a little bit higher, and I'm hopefully at the worst case scenario is what I'm expecting is that we'll have some retracements and we'll have kind of like a little bit of a range kind of coming back up within the next couple of weeks. But our big point to kind of where we're going to see some kind of fighting off is, of course, around $25 or so. And you're already seeing that from $22 or so. And that's coming back from what it was in July as well. So we're kind of fighting back for that. And of course, like today, or while we were getting pushed back down, since we were driving back down, and while we were getting that pushback from going up higher, was that kind of range moment that we had back in November of last year, right? So we kind of had that moment, and that's where we had the resistance and the support levels kind of like blocking that in, just because that's what the history does. Now, what I always tell you guys, and you're probably going to quote, you're going to say, oh, Britt, you're going to say it again, but we have the market structures coming in. Now, a true market structure is really big candles coming in. Like that's really what it is. But it's such a fluid use of when I say that. But I'm going to call this one a market structure here. Now, also the downward, the death spiral to the ground, also is from here in August as well, July and August. But I believe we're going to come back up to around $27 with some retracements coming back in. That's that kind of range that I was talking about previously. Now, to really feel good, right? And this is what you've noticed too, because the last time that I made this, I don't believe that my memory is just really bad because I'm getting old. But the trend line coming down was back. I made that based on what it was in July and based on what it was in May. I don't believe we had this movement here where we touched, where we got rejected at the trend line. Now, 3 times, it's kind of that thing where like, oh, they say, what is it? What they say? They call it the third time's the charm. Well, okay, but maybe we can push on it on the fourth and break past. Now, I think what will happen now, you have to think psychologically speaking that once we break past the trend line, we'll start going up a little. people will start to feel better about it and they'll want to jump in and buy, right? And so what will happen will drive that up. Now, let's say if we break past that trend line here, we kind of have some fighting coming off at $30, but we can start to see it. I think that if enough people start to buy in, and that's how the market works, it will start to push in, people will start feeling bullish and start buying into AVAX a little bit more. But that's what we're fighting with against. So I believe you don't often see this kind of trend line where it's just following four of these knocks. You just don't see it quite often. So this is something that I believe what I'm going through. I'm just kind of going by my previous history and paying attention to the market. So I try to make things pretty simple, stupid, right? KISS, keep it simple, stupid. So that's what I believe, right? So let me know in the comment section below. What do you think? Are we going to continue this? Are we going to break above the trend line and start moving forward finally with AVAX or not? But looking weekly, we have the same thing that is showing us. We're working our way back up. Weekly, it shows the same thing, right? And this week, if we can get onto that trend line, much better. Now it's only Monday, right? So if we can move up just a little bit by Wednesday, hopefully we can get closer to that. If we're positive and the market starts reacting to our wishes, which I wish it would, right? So this is kind of what we're looking at on weekly. All right, so let me know. The next one, MATIC. Also, older indications that we had with a couple of tweaks with the support level, right? Purple trend line. I kept it purple. That came from right here about what it was in June, and of course what it was in August. Now we just kind of dropped off from August, and we're starting to hit around 0.37. It's trading right now at 37, right? So the support level is around 35, what I got marked, and it's more based off what happened 2 years ago in June, right? So that was kind of that moment, and also this range of motion back in 2021. It still counts. Most people don't go that far back, but I like to. Again, why I like dailies. So 27, let's just kind of zoom in here so you guys can see a little bit better and make this up. Yeah. So, yeah. So 35 cents right now is where we're kind of what we could go down towards now. The last couple of days, not too much is happening. Today is kind of fighting back and forth, but the previous day we had a little bit of a push upwards, still not good enough, right? But it's still growing. If we can kind of go off in a more upward trajectory, if we can finally start seeing some bulls coming in, would be handy. The fight that we'll see, of course, is around 40 cents or so, kind of given that window, 39, 40 cents. Even better yet to call it around 43. That would be our that would kind of be our mark, right? So that's what I need to see to kind of feel a little bit better about the whole ordeal. And I'll highlight. So about right here is where we're going to kind of see some fighting back and forth, just because it's going to act as our resistance level. And that's what we had before. We broke past it and grew, but we kind of fell and then fell back down right now. But the market altogether is not doing so hot, but we could see some of that change later on. Of course, 47 and going up. Market structure is the same, just kind of fell down, and so hopefully we'll return back to that soon, around 56, but not without a fight. And I believe that we're looking at a with this trajectory that's happening, we're looking at a month or two. I mean, honestly, for it to fall, you can expect the same thing to rise, and that's in August. The 22nd of August, it just kind of fell, right? But really, let's say if we didn't even count that and just kind of fell back through, we're talking about July, right? So it's still the beginning part of September. So I believe that we can start pushing past that and get to 45, at least minimum. That's where we need to go. But the true goal is around 50 cents for MATIC. I love MATIC. It just took a really big hit. Like, I mean, just massive hit since back in March, just not what it was. Yeah, May, June, even, it was just sad. So some people probably sold and then try to make some of their money back, in which they did, but they sold it and they caught that they made some of those pumps back after it jumped, and that's what we've seen with that kind of dump going on. All right, market as a whole for the day. Ton jumped up by 9%, right? That's all having to do with his statement coming from France. You have Ethereum 0.8, Bitcoin at 1.3. AVAX did jump up by 3%, which is really, really good. Link is up by 2.3% as well. Cardano is up by 0.7, expecting some bigger things happening, especially towards December, which a lot of things in December are going to be happening. So hopefully the market will kind of shift away from what it's doing now by November. The elections, what we're speaking about in the last video as well, is going to have something to do with it. So it's going to be quite interesting. Kamala is talking about supporting crypto. Trump is supporting crypto. Now, I believe Trump more so than Kamala because Trump is a financial kind of guy. And so I believe that the whole market's going to kind of pump up more with him, especially if he wins the election. So 3.4% for APT. These are kind of the big winners. DOT's down by 0.5. TRX is up by 1.7. These are the big winners, but still much better than what it was a couple of days ago. For the weekly, took a big hit. Ethereum fell 8%. Bitcoin fell by 5.6%. Solana, thank God, fell only by 2%. Kind of lost a little bit on Solana, but not too much. SUI, SUI is up by 18.8% for the week, which is really, really good. Uniswap is also up by almost 9.5%, so 9.4. AVAX, what we're talking about, jumped up this week by 6.7, so really much better. And Cardano's up by 2% too. So I'm looking at purchasing some Cardano soon. Based on what I'll see within the next 2 weeks. That's what I'm going to follow through. So depending on what Solana does in the next 2 weeks, I might enter the market there. Pepe fell by 5.4% for the weekly. So over and all, it's okay, not too bad. Monthly sucked, right? We talked about that before. 17% sold, took a hit. Ethereum 11, Bitcoin 9.4. Ton got hammered at 21%. Pepe fell by 17, but yearly we're still good. Yearly we're still fantastic. Ethereum's up by almost 50%. Bitcoin jumped 120%. Solana is still at 636%. Very, very good. AVAX for the year 159%, which is really, really good compared. Those are the big ones. TRX is also almost jumped up by 100% at 99.5. Doge 63. Ton, speaking, it got hammered the week, but it's still up by 205% for the year. So it's really good. And this kind of really highlights, when you look at the yearly, it really highlights more so when you hold, right? So if you look at like monthly or weekly, you're like, ah, man, like, yeah, I'm getting killed. But if you look at weekly and you hold, a lot of the times you can kind of see where your gains are coming in at. So it's a psychological game that you play, I play, we all play in the market. So, but this kind of calms me down a little bit if I start to kind of panic or I want to panic sell. And that's the big thing. Panic selling kills me. So this mellows me out just enough. So AVAX 159%, for example, right? Where's Cardano at? Cardano is up by 42.8%, which is really, really good, right? So let me know what you think, guys, about MATIC and AVAX as well in the comment section below. And I will catch you guys in the next video. And until then, happy trading and safe trading. Catch you in the next one. Thank you guys for watching.